Hey y'all, so last time I did one of these, I was actually really surprised at how much engagement it got and how many very kind comments I received. So I just want to say thank you for that and for watching this. I wanted to do something today where I tell a little bit of a story and it kind of connects as a follow-up to the 30s conversation we're talking about, and just growth and life and emotional type of stuff. So if you're down for that, stick around. So I'm going to have a little bit of a story time about me and my cousin Johnny. So if you don't know me personally, you may not know about Johnny, but Johnny was my cousin and he was really more like my brother. We were the same exact age, roughly 4 months apart, and we grew up together like siblings. Now, I am an only child and he was not, but his older brother was much older, so we really, like I said, grew up like siblings that didn't live together, essentially. And Johnny and I were very much completions of like each other's other halves, is the best way I always explain this. He was more of a risk taker, very outgoing, adventurous. I was more reserved, cautious, nervous, and even in interests, things as small as like what kind of toys we played with as kids. I liked to play with his race cars at Christmas and he would play with my Polly Pockets because, like, I don't know. It's like we always just kind of ended up being like a whole together. We kind of completed each other and balanced each other out. That's the best way I can explain that. So before I get into the story, I do need to preface by saying Johnny passed away in a single car accident when we were 17. And that's a whole other story that I will probably talk about on Toasting Yorks Talking Mental Health, but for now, all you need to know is that I'm 30 years old now. Johnny died when we were 17. But there's this story I like to tell about before he died. And Johnny and I's main thing that we loved to do together was ride four-wheelers, because I live on property and it was a fun thing that we could go do together. And when I was a teenager, I was terrified. I mean, sickly terrified of thunderstorms. I was so convinced that, like, I don't know, something was going to happen to me, a tornado was going to come, something really bad was going to happen every time it stormed, so I would panic about it. And before we went to ride four-wheelers, there was a pop-up thunderstorm, and I was checking the weather radar, looking to see where it was at, what it was doing, and Johnny was like, Noelle, it's okay, like, seriously, I really just feel like we're going to be fine, like, don't worry about it. So I was like, okay. So we drove up the holler, as we call it in Appalachia, but up onto the property in a certain place, and you could hear thunder, and you could see the storm clouds, and I barely had enough cell phone service to be able to continue checking the weather radar, and I was starting to panic. I was like, Johnny, we need to go now. And he was like, Noelle, it's going to pass us. I'm telling you, it's going to pass us. The storm is not going to hit. We're going to be okay. Like, just sit here with me for a little bit, and I promise you, if it looks like it's going to be bad, we'll go back. We'll go find shelter, like, whatever. So I'm like, okay. I chose to trust him because he was one of the only people that for some reason, like, he could kind of get through to my anxiety. And so I trusted him, and lo and behold, we literally watched this storm clip the area we were at. Like, it just, the clouds, I could see the storm clouds, I could see the lightning, and I could hear the thunder, but it just clipped the area, and it never hit. And it went right past us, and then we had a wonderful time hanging out, riding four-wheelers, whatever, until dusk. So that story means a lot to me because it's an example of how Johnny, as, you know, my balance in my young adult life, really helped me overcome fears. The biggest thing I learned about Johnny, and that Johnny's life taught me, even though it ended early, was that you should do everything you can to enjoy the time that you have. And it's not like I don't struggle with anxiety anymore or don't let it stop me, but that's a story I like to tell of where, you know, when he was here, he was really pushing me and helping me come out of my shell and become the person that honestly I am today. But a connector to that is, you know, after he passed away, I've always been very intuitive in my dreams, and dreams are a very important piece of my mental health, my spirituality. I work through a lot of things in dreams, and sometimes I even get answers to things in dreams. And I had this dream this one time about him after he passed away that made me realize that even when people, I'm gonna get emotional, even when people are physically gone, that doesn't mean that they're not still here to help us and they're not still around to help us in ways. Whether you believe that that is a literal thing or a metaphorical thing, it is true, whichever way you want to take it. I believe in it literally, but I think metaphorically works as well. Johnny does come to me in my dreams, and one time after he died, he came to me in a dream. And this one, I wish I remembered every little detail of it, but it was just, the main premise was I was in this barn loft, and I didn't recognize this barn loft. I've never seen it before, but I was in this barn loft, and I'm over here on this platform, right? And across from me, there's another platform. And for some reason in the dream, I have to get to this other platform, but it's a really long jump. I mean, honestly, it's like, I'll use some gaming analogies here. It's like, it was such a long jump that, like, I would have to, let's say I'm Spyro, I would have to hover at the end of it to maybe be able to make it. And that's with gliding, like a jump, an actual jump. I don't even know if Spider-Man could do it. Like, it was pretty long, okay? And I'm over here, and he's on the other platform. So I'm on this one, and he's on this one. And he's like, no, you can do it. Come on. And I'm sitting there, and I'm panicking. I'm like, Johnny, I can't make it. Johnny, I can't make it. And I'm like, really panicking, hyperventilating, like freaking out. And finally, I decide to just trust him and take the jump. And I can literally feel him, like, grab me and pull me up. And I made it to the other side. And I know that that seems so simple. But when I compare it to what he taught me living, it was just that reminder and that push that I needed to realize that, like, I can do that still. And just because he's gone doesn't mean that I can't still learn from him and I can't still learn these lessons about overcoming fear, overcoming anxiety, and taking the risks I need to take to become the person I want to be. And I genuinely believe, from my spiritual perspective, that it was him reminding me of that. But it was that bump I needed after he died to be able to know and believe in myself that this is something I can do. Because when he died, because he was that person who always pushed me, nudged me, helped me through things, I felt lost. I felt like I wasn't going to make it through this life because we were kind of, I don't want to say that we were codependent on each other, but we worked off of each other really well, and we grew up with each other in a way that, like, his weaknesses I helped with, my weaknesses he helped with, and it was so scary to all of a sudden be in a world where he wasn't there. At my coming of age, I was 17 years old, I was about to become an adult, and I just couldn't see my future. And I guess the main point of this story is hope. It's hope for maybe other people who are experiencing similar things, who might come across this, who, maybe it is a loss, or maybe it's just, lack of belief in yourself, or lack of self-confidence, fear of the future, not being able to see the future. Those are all really scary things, but I am here at 30 years old, or 300 is what it feels like. I'm here at 30 years old, and I'm telling you a story about when I was 17, and I thought my life was over, and I didn't see a future. That's 13 years ago, and I'm here. And not only am I here, but I'm happy that I'm here. And I'm more at peace than I've ever been in my entire life, physically and mentally. And yes, I'm battling a lot of things. And yes, I'm uncertain on certain days. And yes, things feel heavy still. But I am here, and I'm here for a reason. And I made it through those things for a reason. And I never understood when Johnny died why he was gone and I was here. Because I was the quiet one. I was the scared one. I was the introverted one. I was the one who was afraid to take risks and was afraid to truly live my life to the fullest. So why he had to leave when he was more than capable of living in this world, and I stayed struggling in this world and not really feeling like it was a good match for me, it always puzzled me. But when I see who I am today and the woman that I've become, because of him and because of knowing him and because of myself and my own choices to fight through it and stay, I feel like I have the answer to that question. I feel like that doubt that I had, as a younger person about myself Well, I mean, it's because I had the potential to be all of these things. And Johnny saw that in me, and he pushed me to accept it. So that's just a little story time I wanted to share. A follow-up to my 30s video. I know I was a little bit emotional and struggling, but today, on a little bit of a more positive note, I just wanted to share that you are capable. You can get through whatever it is that you're going through, and there is hope. So thank you all for listening to the story. If you made it this far, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more if you're interested in this content. If you're not here for my gaming stuff, then there will be more of these, of me just babbling, if that's what you like. And I also combine deep talks with gaming, so even if you don't love watching people play Spyro the Dragon, check out my Toasting Norks and Talking Mental Health series. You can listen to it like it's a podcast. You don't even have to watch me play. And that is something that I do that has a little bit more of some depth to it. And I also interview people and talk to different people about different mental health topics, if that's something you would like to listen to. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever time it is when you're watching this. And I'm going to leave you guys with what Johnny left me, which is hope and belief in yourself. Whatever it is that you don't feel like you can do, I want you to know you're more capable than you realize. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all soon.